Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out here on the homestead today. Definitely wanted to do a video about the Supreme Court decision. Now listen, the title of this video is not clickbait. This is serious. I really believe this. I'm not trying to spread fear porn or fear monger, but the reality is freedom of speech has died in this country. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, has ruled that the government is allowed to pressure social media companies to remove content. That's going to directly affect the homesteading community and homesteaders. A lot of you homesteaders out there who are not on social media, who do not have their own channel or Twitter page, or you're just homesteading, but you watch a lot of homesteaders. So much of what you're watching these homesteaders do is looked down upon by our government, and especially the World Economic Forum. They do not want you raising your own food. They do not want you raising your own protein. They do not want you keeping gardens without them being registered. They don't want you, absolutely don't want you harvesting different plants and using them for medicinal purposes. Let's sit down here, shall we? Now let's continue down the list. They don't want you having wood stoves because that ruins the environment. They don't want you having gas stoves. That means propane. And most of you rural homesteaders out there are using propane. There's so many things. They don't want you drinking that white stuff. All of these things that you do, they don't want you. They don't want you cutting down trees. This is the direction we're headed. And most of the social media companies that are out there already are suppressing a lot of this stuff in some way, shape, or fashion, whether it be through algorithms or whatever, or just straight outright shadow banning or removing of channels, content, whatever. But now they have the green light to do so. And all they have to say is, well, the government or such and such agency has decided that we should not, allow this sort of content to propagate throughout the internet, especially on our platform. And so we are removing it. It just gives them a green light to continue to do these things. Now, with this decision, I think this is going to be, how much pressure now is allowed by the government to these social media companies, even if social media companies are not overtly trying to remove this type of content. How much pressure is the government allowed to lean on or to apply to these social media companies? Is it just, hey, an email? Hey, we would prefer if this wasn't on there, and then they comply? Or, could there be other pressures on these companies to remove a lot of this content from online? That remains to be seen. But I think if you have half a brain, what direction this is heading. I don't think you have to be a genius to figure that out. Okay, so I have some notes here. Because of this Supreme Court decision, this really allows them to push what has been published already by the WEF, the World Economic Forum. They want renovation and reinvention when it comes to our food system. And one of the biggest reasons homesteaders are homesteaders is because of food. We want whole foods. We want to raise our own foods. We don't trust the system. We don't trust the proteins. We don't trust the plants. We don't trust a lot of the processed, especially the processed foods, that now so many of them contain things that we just we don't think are healthy for us. Seed oils, soy, GMO, bioengineered products, all these things that they're telling you is okay to eat, but we all can look around us and see the effects of these foods and what it does to people. And so we're like, what? We want a better option. We want to raise our own. And that's the majority of the homesteads. Most of the homesteading channels out there on YouTube land do not get involved in the politics like I'm getting involved in here today. They just want to talk about their amazing tomatoes, their amazing cucumbers, and oh, look how beautiful this onion is. And look at, aren't my chickens so precious? They're so precious. That's what they want to do. They want to talk about all the little cool, neat beautiful things about homesteading without diving in and getting into the nitty-gritty about all the idiots out there who want to take it away from you. Why are you doing it? Because you know it's healthier. It's sustainable. So, if you look on the World Economic Forum, and here's the deal, guys. The World Economic Forum is really complaining about a lot of misinformation out there, things that aren't true. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link directly to this article from the World Economic Forum in the description. You're going to click on that, and I want you to read it for yourself. And if you're one of these channels out there that only talk about the pretty things of homesteading and never talk about the nitty-gritty, please click that link and read for yourself what they want to do. Renovation. The two of the main tenets of renovation that the World Economic Forum has put forward say this. Number one, reducing agricultural inputs. Reducing agricultural inputs. Is your chickens an agricultural input? Is your tomato plant an agricultural input? I'm just asking the question here. Number two, adding fiber and probiotics. Okay, so we want to remove agricultural inputs and we want to add fiber and probiotics, which I think is a good thing probably for the Perfect Pickler Company. If I can just get inventory where I want it to go, we're going to really take off in this new age of the World Economic Forum. We're going to sell Perfect Pickler kits. I'm going to be rich. Perfectpickler.com if you want to try your own, probiotics at home. Anyway, all that to say, they want to add more fiber and probiotics, which is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I think it's healthy for you. But it's the reducing of the agricultural inputs that I find disturbing. Then they want to talk about reinvention. What is reinvention according to the World Economic Forum? Scaled consumer adoption of plant-based and novel proteins. Scaled consumer adoption, meaning gradual taking away of the agricultural inputs, and then replacing them with plant-based, and novel proteins. So let's give you pea protein, like, peas and different proteins that are found in plants, and novel proteins. Can anyone guess what that might be? What's a novel protein? A novelty. Something out of the norm. You will eat the bugs. Let's be honest here, folks. You will eat the bugs, and you will like it, because we're going to make it taste like meat. So here, you go look at that link below, and that's what you're going to find, among other things, among other telltale signs of what their goal and purpose is. Okay, they want to take these things away from you. Why do they want to take these things away? They're using it under the guise of trying to save humanity, trying to save the planet. But what's really here happening is a total control takeover. They want to control you. They know you can't rise up and, resist their control when you eat the bugs. You have no strength. And they're going to basically, we've already woken up. I told my kids the other day, we've woke up, we've looked around, and we find ourselves on Earth, but yet still in the movie WALL-E. That Disney movie, WALL-E. That's where we are today. And everyone around us. So many people today are so unhealthy. And they want to keep you unhealthy because in this unhealthy state, you're more unable or less likely to resist them. Here's what I think, guys. They are pushing this. Everything you want to do in your homestead is now illegal, or will soon be. And the social media companies in which most of this information is found for future homesteaders and for current homesteaders will probably soon be taken off because this does not align with World Economic Forum agenda. Okay, it doesn't align. It's going to be removed. They're going to take it down. Second thing, what is going to happen is that war is absolutely inevitable at this point. I don't care what you think or what you say. Attack them. Missiles just hit Crimea the other day, took out supposedly some innocent Russians, and it's escalating. This is going to happen. When that happens, and the thing in the South China Sea and Taiwan kicks off with China, that's going to either allow them to enact these controls even further, or it's going to provide an environment where none of these controls can be enacted, and that's going to lead to its own, chaos. Because when the economy trashes, and if the war doesn't go well on our end, then they lose control even further. And how does that work out? Have you guys ever looked into some of the things that took place during World War II and what people had to live without? Somebody, actually, it was a couple of you, commented the other day on my video saying how you just could not live without air conditioning. You do realize that the majority of people have lived without air conditioning for, all time. Living with air conditioning is a new concept. If air conditioning or some of the conveniences of life were taken away from you tomorrow, some of you would just lose it. That should tell you a couple things. Number one, it should tell you that you're weak. Because if you can't live without it, then you're weak. Especially when people have always lived without it throughout all humanity and all time. It's only in recent history we've had air conditioning. War usually brings with it scarcity, especially meat, because usually that goes to soldiers, and other things, tactiles, things like that. You usually live without them. So I think you need to prepare for that. The best way you can get ready for this is to move out into areas where there is low population density and set up a system where you can grow your own food, grow your own proteins, and be able to network and communicate with others who are doing likewise, and others who would, buy some of the things that you are growing to sustain yourselves. Network. There are hard times coming. There are evil people who are trying to do evil things to you, and the best way you can resist that, at least right now, is to set yourself up to do what you want to do anyway. And if you're living in some of these suburbs and some of these places in the city, it's just going to be hard for you to do that. If you live in some of these suburbs or cities, network, get to know people who don't, and then become friends with them and support their farms and homesteads, their farmsteads. Buy their meat products, buy their eggs, buy their produce. Support your local farmers with the roadside stands so that they're there still. And even if they have to go underground, which it sounds like they probably will at some point have to do, they'll let you know, hey, I'm still selling eggs. I'm just doing it over here instead. Support them. If you keep them alive, they'll keep you alive. Even if you live in the craziest of cities and suburbs. I promise you, they will do that. They will help you. So make those connections, make them now while you still can. All right, guys, what do you guys think? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Again, that article is linked below. Feel free to check it out. Also, when going and talking about some of these plants out here that you can use for all kinds of amazing medicinal purposes, I offer those books to my patrons. These herbal extract books. It doesn't tell you how to make a tincture. It tells you what to do with the tinctures once you have them. Full of color photos. And if you bought these on Amazon, you're each going to pay over $1,000 for each of them. And I think one of them is now over $1,400. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. These are out of copyright. They're out of print. The content of these books was written over 100 years ago by Dr. A.B. Howard. And it was in place and well accepted long before the Rockefellers did what they needed to do to get this out of the conscious mind of the public. Okay, this is my medicine cabinet. So you can get these books. You can download them from my patreon.com, patreon.com/An-American Homestead. Link is in the description below, right down there. And you can download it for as little as $1, $1. And if I could make it cheaper, I would. I'd make it free. But in order to put the links on a server, I've got to charge at least something. So if you join for higher levels, I really appreciate that. You can join for higher levels on my Patreon. But if you join for at least $1, I'll give you those books. And you will get, goodness gracious, the amount of value in those books is... There's so many things here. Like right there, look at that. Pokeweed. That's pokeweed right there. And you can use that. It's in the book. In the book. So what's another thing? Do I have any of those? What else do we got right here? I got some mullein, I think, down there. What else? I'm looking at things that I know for sure. Let me just go down here and look at the mullein. It's almost time to start harvesting this stuff. In fact, they're starting to put on flowers. So, check this out. I know I'm keeping you a long time here. Sorry, guys. I know you got busy days. But here we go. Look at the flowers coming on. I'll be out here harvesting this soon. So the flowers are medicinal. The leaves are medicinal. The roots of the plant are medicinal. And so I'll be out here and the flowers, look how easy these come off. Oh, look at that. You just put that in your jar and you're going to tincture it and it's going to be amazing. You get the books, okay? It'll tell you listen, of all my things that I tincture, this is my number one. This is my number one go-to for almost every single thing. Okay, you can use other things, other tinctures for other things too. They'll help, they're great. But the mullein is the best, in my opinion. It's one of the top three you should have. Top three. Nettle, stinging nettle would be another one. Echinacea would be another one for my top three. But these plants around here, these leaves and these roots, we're going to use all those to make an amazing tincture. Good stuff. That's pretty sweet. Okay, what do you guys think? Down below, leave a comment, participate in the conversation. I'll see you next time on American Homestead. Bye. In the spring of 2024, Saudi Arabia ended the long-held practice of requiring its oil to be sold in U.S. currency. And recently, governments around the world have been repatriating their physical gold from Western banks, opting instead to hold that gold within their own borders. China, meanwhile, continues to set records in terms of stockpiling its physical gold reserves, while at the same time dumping billions in U.S. treasuries. All these instances can otherwise be called indicators. Indications that the world is readying itself to participate in trade that does not involve the United States or the dollar. And at home, our banks are showing signs of a deflationary collapse, in which case the FDIC does not have a fraction of the funds on hand to ensure you can get your money should your bank fail. On the other hand, they keep telling us inflation is getting under control, but for some reason, the prices we pay day to day keep going up and products we pay for keep getting smaller. I've put a link in the description below this video that will allow you to start the process to convert money you may have already saved into precious metals that you yourself can hold. You hold it, you own it. Throughout history, precious metals have always been accepted for goods and services, even in the most chaotic of economies and war-torn countries, dating all the way back to when Alexander the Great ruled the known world. Guys, we're over $35 trillion in debt. If you're concerned, I don't blame you. ITM Trading has a well-documented history of helping people put their money into physical metals that you hold. Again, if you hold it, you own it. Hit that link below and see how ITM Trading can help you get the ball rolling towards financial sustainability. The consultation is free and there's no pressure. They will show you your options based on your concerns and goals you have for the future. By doing this, you're safeguarding wealth just like people have done successfully for literally thousands of years. You are now part of that history. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.